Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Associate Professor Dr. Nurul Hamizah Zamzuri from Event Management, Department of International Business and Management Study, and I am representing Department of Postgraduate and Professional Studies, Faculty of Business and Management, UiTM Puncak Alam. So today we are presenting research talk series titled Traits of Effective Supervisor by our professor from Sabah, Professor Dr. T.S. Imbarine Bujang. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Prof, our presenter today. Before that, I would like to highlight that at this moment, there are 18 PhD and master students under observation and 6 graduate on time PhD and 3 graduate on time master. Maksudnya, I think I have Prof have more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Without further ado, now I would like to invite Prof. Dr. Imbarine for your sharing session. Thank you, Prof.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nurul. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrahli sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma aftah alaina hikmataka wa anshur alaina min qawzai rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Okay, first of all, I would like to thanks to Dr. Nurul for organizing this sharing session today. Right. So basically, I think like I was informed by Dr. Nurul saying that do you mind to share like how the supervisors can achieve the graduate on time students, but I think what I'm going to do today is the general perspective of how I treat my students and how actually I handle them, okay, in terms of like what are the process that are taking up, and then what are the tips lah. Probably like, I just give a tips lah, how I handle the students, right? So many people asking me, do you have any problems, okay, with your students, okay, in terms of meeting them and so on? But very fortunately, I never experienced that kind of situation, because I think like when I give a clear directions to the student, they know what they're doing and they know what is actually the deadline. Then they just fulfill whatever they just to do. They just do it. Yeah. All right. Now before that, let me share my screen first. This is actually I think most of the thing is actually almost similar that when I do a series talk on the graduate on time, but this one I changed a bit because I do want to focus on graduate on time, because graduate in time is actually it's a choice for the students, right? Because everything is actually come from the students. If they want to achieve a GOT, means that is actually their achievement lah, right? But I guess like there are another pro and cons as well if they graduate beyond the time. Yeah, so I think that will be another things that you guys have to look further. Yeah, why the students have to prolong the what do you call this, the duration of study. Okay, now let me Dr. Nur, can you see my slide? Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Dr. Nurul? Yes. All right, thank you. So finally, I come out with the title of traits of an effective supervisor. So when you talk about the trait, means that it's all about like who are the person involved, and what are the the skills, or what do you call this a skill of supervisions, that what you need to have in your you have to encrypt in yourself. So basically what me I think this is actually roughly about me. Yeah, so far I already have 18 PhD, including the DBA students, okay, graduated, and 14 MSc students, as mentioned by Dr. Nurul, 6 PhD GOT, and then 3 MSc GOT, 1 youngest PhD, and the rest lah. Yeah, I don't want to repeat this one. But at the moment, okay, in the pipeline, I still have another 19 PhD, and 8 of them are still doing correction after Viva. But Alhamdulillah, they already submitted the correction, right? Okay, and then the rest, I still have a new student as well, and so on. But I'm not going to do the video today, right? Only for selected video, right? So I was awarded with the Honorary Fellowship Award from the Center of Business and Economic Research in United Kingdom, right? Until now, I'm still holding that post, right? And then as the winner for the Jewel and Crown for the Best Supervisors by IPP Puncak Alam 2018, and Best Supervisors for AAU 2015, And at the moment, I also one of the board committee for Institute Development Studies for Sabah. This is actually a government think tank group where I'm actually one. I'm holding two posts here. Okay, for as a board committee for 2021 until 2023. I also invited as a keynote speaker in UK, Indonesia and Bangladesh a couple years ago, right? Okay, now it's not moving.
Internet kot.
Apa tak tahu, dia tak
Ah,
moving.
tak moving.
Ya, kejap
Line.
Okay, so this is the content that I will talk about, but I think I'm not going to take a long time. Okay, but I just change a bit. Okay, according to what we need today. So we are talking about the definition, supervisor's rate, right? And then supervisors VJ ecosystem, supervisor style, supervisors again. I think this is a repetition. And then I will give the tip based on the first phase, second phase, and also third phase and conclusion. Because the way how I advise the student according based on the three phases altogether, right? So when come to the introduction, I think like we just want to look at what is the definition of the supervisor, definition of supervision, and definition of the supervisees. I really like we have to blend this term because like in supervisions, especially like when we actually are dealing with one-to-one supervisions, where it's between you and students, but actually we have to go beyond that. That's why I really want you to know what is actually your role as a supervisor, what is actually the supervision process, and what is actually the role of the supervisee. Yeah. So when we integrate these three, actually it's not this only these three elements, but I think it's beyond that. That's why I think you also have to integrate your knowledge, okay, with the faculty as well as the IPSIS. Yeah. So when you integrate this thing, that you know what is the best strategy for the students, right? So, but this one is I don't want to I make it open, okay, in terms of definition, because I think like every one of you know what kind of supervisor you are and how you're going to supervise and how you're going to what do you call it, instruct your supervisor. But everything is actually they integrate each other. So when you understand this, then it's easy for you to look at what are the traits that you need to have as a supervisor. So basically, this is actually the traits that I really highlighted. Okay, so if you want to be good in terms of supervisions, means that the first thing is you need to have your subject expert or knowledge. Okay, now this is actually I really want to highlight. I'm not going to argue in terms of your area of specialization. But what I'm arguing is actually you need to conduct what you call this relearn, unlearn, and also keep on updating your knowledge from time to time. So if you just finish your PhD, I think like you not just stick with what you know at the moment, but you have to expand your knowledge. Okay, looking at other things that, because when there are so many kind of students when they actually coming when they come to you and then show the proposal and some things that you cannot handle, that's why you switch to another to another supervisor. So I think like like when the student come to you and then they ask you, but you should be able to to tackle all the problem, how to solve that. That's why you must expand that. For example, like I'm doing on time series last time during my PhD, but that doesn't mean that I have to stop until time series. But even the time series is actually very broad. So at the moment, even like I'm not doing in the artificial intelligence, but what I did now, I keep on updating myself with the artificial intelligence. I buy the book, I read by myself. Like I try to understand what are the deep learning, what are the machine learning, and how it works, and how we're going to focus in the future, something like that. So this is actually the latest knowledge. Okay, you become, but you have to very what do you call this? You have to be alert uh, with the latest technologies as well, right? In terms of how you are going to analyze the data and so on. But I'm not arguing about your specialization, but you have to expand your knowledge by learn and keep on updating your knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Now, then the second one is actually the supervision skill. Okay, the supervision skill is actually related to the human relations. Means that It could be from the attributes, it could be from the psychological, it could be also from the experiences of the students. But that's why. But when we deal with the student, but we also understand that because they are also a human, right? So the way how we actually have to handle that situation, we need to have what they call a good relationship between supervisor and supervisor. But in order to maintain that relationship, you must have a skill, yeah, understanding both what do you call this, emotional and also intelligence, yeah, right. And apart from that, like I really concerned about the support system, right? In terms of, let's say, like we are in the midst of pandemic, right? We still, like the campuses are closed, and then the students sometimes, like they are quite independent at home. At a certain time they are very, what do you call this? uh, they don't know where to move and so on. That's why we also have to provide the support system. Yeah, the support system in terms of like, what they need to do. Okay, if they're stuck, what we can advise, and then this is actually something that we have to look further in terms of the supervisors relationship. Okay, now if the other one is a campus facility services, like this one is related back to the faculty and also the IPSIS. But when we're talking about this campus facility, means that we as supervisor, we also have to connect the students with the faculty as well as the IPSIS, because the process are integrated. They keep on going until they get the Senate letter, right? Okay, and then the research development support. I think like this is my principle. I think like most of my students, I think if they are under my supervision, I said like you cannot just stop until the research writing, like the publication, the Bible bullshit, and then submit the hard on and so on. But I think like we have to go beyond that. They have to go, with the specific industry where they can target, who actually really get the benefit from the study and so on. Okay, for instance, like we are working on the port operations, then we work with sub-state government, then we present the outcome, and then make this sub-state to think what they can do for the next strategy, right? So that's why don't stop your students to just focus on your research. Then it's just between him only, but between the students only. But you also have to connect them with the industry. Yeah. All right. Of course, like funding, grant, scholarship. Okay, at a certain state, like I also, when I look at the students, are very smart. They are ready to cope up with the to pick up with a certain level. So what I can recommend, normally like, I propose, okay, to the Sabah state government, okay, can you offer scholarship for these students? Okay, so I think like this is actually something that a new. Then I provide a justification to the state. I said, this is actually the area where like we are really need in the future. So then would you offer this then we present the proposal in front of the top management. I think that we done, yeah, for those students who perform well, then definitely like I'll support them in terms to getting the scholarship as well, right? Because these people are actually our human capital, so they're going to contribute in the future, with their respective expertise. Yeah, all right. And apart from that, like I think some of my students are here as well, right? They know this is my style. Like I really like to have research recreations. I mean, sometimes like we have to work together, right? And then sometimes we have to have informal dine in or something like that. Yeah, you can actually just do some have a high tea coffee or whatever, like you can handle, right? So when you actually blend all this element into yourself, then you integrate all these elements. Right. I think like what you can see is actually you will develop what they call a PG centricity. So wherever that whenever that any kind of problem comes to you, then you know already how to solve it. Right? Because that's why I call it a PG centricity, because like you already have that experience. You already blend all the necessary informations from the environment of the supervision itself, right? At the end, like you can see that what is the outcome. Like we increase the national human capital. At the same time, like we helping the university's name, okay, to increase in terms of the Myra score. Yeah. All right. Now, okay, this one I think like you already know. I think like this is actually a template given by what you call by IPSIS. But what actually I want to highlight here, like I also based on this, but what I did is actually I divide them based on three phases. The first phase is actually from registration to the DRP. right? And then there's the first phase. Then the second phase actually from after the RP until we set for the Viva, and the last stage is actually the first stage, the first phase, the third phase is actually based on the after the Viva Voce, right? So normally I divide it into three phases. That's why the students know that they actually whether they're in second phase or in the third phase. But normally every phase they have that period of study, and in order to do that, what we need to do, we have to advise the students, how they're going to plan, their study plan, across the period of study. Yeah. So also very important, I also want to highlight the supervisor style. The supervisor style is actually I also like have to be flexible. I follow what kind of student is this, like, so normally I will have what they call an in-depth discussions with the student during the first day of registration. So what I did is actually I want to identify whether the student is actually matched, somewhat matched, or somewhat very matched, because the treatment for the students actually is different. So there must be some area that they actually, but I think like we just need to, what do you call this? We need just um, to identify, or try to find out, what is actually the level of experience of the students, how much research they have done. But I think like from this category, it let me know that this is actually that I have to monitor more. Okay, for example, if I say that imagine normally like students who are fresh graduate, from bachelor degree, they proceed with the master's degree, but they don't have the experience of publication, they never write academic writing and so on. So this is something like I need to treat myself like a big daddy. Yeah. So and the certain things, after if the students actually somewhat matched, like normally this one I think like a colleague of me or mine, my colleague is actually who actually pursuing PhD and study under my supervision. So like they actually already know, but it's just a matter that how to enhance, how to develop more in more appropriate supervision style in terms of how we are going to mentor the students. That's why I think this one is actually like an academic staff or also from industry. Now, industry also sometimes I classify them as a somewhat mentored. The reason is because people in the industry, like they are very confident in terms of, saying something. Okay, they are very confident. But the point is, like when come to the academic writing, that is actually we have to monitor closely. All right. So that's why I know already. But if the students actually from academic industry or from the what do you call this, from the industry. So whether it's from academic or from industry. So these two group actually have different way how to treat. That's why my style of supervision also change. Yeah. And this one is the other one is a very matched, means that I found that the student is very confident. I only just give a key terms, they know already what to do. That is matched. So means that this one is actually you don't have to what do you call this, worry so much about that, because like they already reach a certain level. Yeah. This is the way from my experience I only found these three. Yeah, this is actually maybe there are many of them, but in my what do you call this, in my experience, from my experience, this is the three categories that I did, because now I have a different strategy for this category. Yeah. Right. Right. So once you already understand the timeline, you understand the supervisor style, and you understand, then you need also to understand how the PG ecosystem works, right? So, for example, maintain the good relationship, supervisor, relation time, plan research activities, like maintain the culture, like attending conference, innovation. I think this one I just wrap up here, but later I'll also come back again, since it's only 1 hour, so I need to get quick just get some idea how actually how actually I treat my students. Yeah. All right. And then attending program together, supervisor program, like a thesis boot camp, right? And then after that this is actually I already mentioned, like we have to go beyond the publication and citation. We have to share the research outcome with industry. And then the last one, I think, like if you want to create a PJ ecosystem, it will be continuous. So create your memory between both supervisor and supervisee. Yeah. This is this is actually something, I think, like some of the things that I did under my supervision. Okay, now So this is the first phase. Normally, the first phase, I just ask the students to do the Gantt, but normally I'm not preferring the Gantt 100%. But I think because of the proposal required them to show the Gantt, never mind, just do it. But I prefer to have a timeline. Okay, timeline where the timeline actually is really specific and what they need to achieve in certain month, right? Because like the way how I monitor the students at the end of the semester when we do a progress report. So normally, like I will attach the report, a very comprehensive report, what the student have done across the period for the 6 month, for the first 6 month of first semester. Then we continue every semester. Yeah. All right. Then once they already understand, okay, once they already understand, okay, what is actually the timeline, then they started to do, normally like in one semester, I have 4 meeting, meeting 1 until meeting 4, and each of the meeting will have specific agenda. So if I can just share with you, there is what do you call this? I put it this in my personal website, right? Okay. This is actually for the first phase. Normally, I ask the students to refer to this website. Normally, that how they're going to achieve the GOT era. Era means the Excellent Research Award and how they do it. Okay, during the first phase, this is the first phase. Okay, normally the students will go to this website. I said the first part what they need to do, registration and briefing to the new students. Means that even pastor may be doing it, but I think like for my own student, I also doing it. Like I ask them to understand the flow of the process from the registration until they get the Senate letter. Because if they're not clear about the process, so it's very hard for them to do the timeline. Yeah, the timeline. If you look at this one, I put also the chata alir here, so it means that the student can refer what's next. If they fail, what they need to do, and so on. And we have instructions here. Yeah, okay. Then after that, like I put as well the what is actually the component in the meeting 1. Okay, actually the meeting 1 until meeting 4, actually there are clear agenda here where the student have to fulfill and they have to bring during the outcome during the meeting. Yeah, let's say if the meeting, if the first day of the registration, after they understand the flow and so on, I already give them instruction what they need to do what they need to prepare within 1 month in order to present for our meeting number 1. Okay, means a month after that. Okay, so if you can open this one, okay, I think like we don't have time. So if you can open all this meeting 1 and then meeting 4, actually for those in social sciences, let's say like in business, in mass comm, I think like in all those in the social science research, I think in accounting also, okay, means that this approach can be done except for the SNT lah, because I'm not from the SNT background. Yeah, right. Right after that, what they need to do, okay, this is the thing that what they need to do, right? I said like they have to go for the IGS research skill because, this is compulsory for master and PhD student, and TIE square is actually compulsory for PhD students. Yeah, okay, right. And then what need to be done? This is all I mentioned here. IGS, I got it. TIE, yeah, square compulsory for PhD candidate. And then if the students need other statistical courses and let's say PSBS, SPLS, economic class. Okay, now this is actually the biggest tips that I think I can give you what I did actually. Like for all kind of statistic, I never ask the student to consult with other statisticians because like I will conduct by myself. Okay, even they are 1-to-1, because like I think like that's why I said if you want to be a great supervisor, the first thing that you need to do, you have to keep on update your knowledge. Okay, remember that's mentioned, that's the first trait that I mentioned, your knowledge must be there, right? So that's why all these kind of classes I conduct by myself to my students. Okay, that's why I think that's the reasons why my students fast in terms of doing writing and so on. Yeah. All right. This is the culture that we do. Friday research dialogue afternoon tea, Tuesday afternoon tea, and so on. Right. And then we do a journal and proceeding writing workshop. Then in order to encourage the student to go to conferences and also presenting a paper lah. Yeah. Right. Okay, then this is the mock DRP. We do the mock DRP for the students. Then after that, we do a pre-viva. Okay, now the pre-viva here, I think I'll come back this one later. But most of my first tip is actually during the registration until DRP, right? Until DRP. So that's the first stage. What they need to do is they just go to meeting 1, meeting 2, until meeting 4. What they need to do is all means that if they're already clear with this, then what the students can do, You know, like if they can go to the GOT, right? So means that after they do the briefing, then they can do this timeline. Okay, this timeline. 3 years for PhD and then 4 semester for masters, right? Then they do the Gantt chart. Okay, but I prefer to have the timeline because it's more detailed what they want to do. Okay, including that. You know, when the students want to create this what they call this timeline, they must integrate all the component, including you as a supervisor, uh, the students, IPSIS, as well as the faculty. Right, so means that everything is already in here. But to make your life easier, then I provide the students here the template here. Means that they can change here. Yeah, if they want to know what's the timeline for PhD, they can download here. They just change. Okay, but you can. This is not just a template, but I think like you can change the component inside that whatever that suit you. Right. Okay, this is for PhD. This one this is a template for the MSc. But if I can just open for the template PhD, right? Um, if you look at here, okay, now that's why this is actually the plan. You know, you can start put the student name and also the supervisor's name here. Then put here and then I said like if you are in next September, you delete March. That then this is the element. What they need to do is during the meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, and meeting 4. And then for master student, definitely only 1 semester they for meeting. Then the next semester they need to do the data collection, yeah, and do the directory. And then for PhD, normally like it will done 2 semester consecutively. Okay, for the meeting 1 until meeting 4 for the next semester again. But the second semester is more on polishing. Okay, the whatever that is lacking in terms of the for each of the area, right? Then when they start to do the article 1 and article 2 as required for graduation, yeah, right? And then they start with the drafting of the chapter, yeah. All right. Now this is the first tip for the first phase lah. Okay, normally I ask the students to website, yeah, right. Now, I think I don't want to cover this one again because I already mentioned this, right? Okay. Okay, then the second tip is actually tip and strategy for the second phase. This is actually what I asked the student: the data collection, paper publication, innovation, data analysis, thesis writing, like series of district bootcamp and pre-viva and real viva, right? That's the second. This is actually for after the DRP until you reach your viva portion, right? Normally, like in PhD, there must be happen in second year, and in the third year, just waiting for the viva, right? Okay, now this is for research and for research mode. I think it's appropriate for the research mode. But same thing as well if they're for coursework as well. Let's say, for example, DBA, they have 3 years program. Normally, first year and second year, they have the coursework and so on. But I already started to ask them to construct the proposal during the first year and also do the defense for the first year, right? Okay, then after that, second year, still the same. Use the data collection, paper publication, and also attending conference and so on, right? And then the third year, they start with the bootcamp. Okay, this is actually how we're going to make sure the student actually producing a very good quality of thesis. So we prepare them with the thesis bootcamp 1, bootcamp 2, bootcamp 3, bootcamp 4, and then do the discussion and get the Senate letter. But you must be wonder what is actually the thesis bootcamp 1, bootcamp 2, bootcamp 3, and bootcamp 4. Okay, let me brief you. Okay, right. So right after the DRP, I also will conduct what we call a session to my students. Okay, how you are going to, because at the time they are very busy with the data collections. So I also will present to the students, okay, on how to write the research analysis, linking research result and to the research objective, question, and hypothesis. So I give a talk to them. Okay, normally like I ask them to come over me because I need to explain them what is the strategy. Okay, this is also I'm doing. And then at the meantime, after this program, I also conduct refinement of result. Quite sometimes, like our result is not supported based on what actually we have planned in the proposal. So we need to do some refinement. So we need to make the student understand why I need to do the refinement of result and read discussion, conclusion chapter, and for the quantitative analysis. Yeah, and I have this slide, and this is actually what I did. I did by myself to my student. Okay, I explained to them what to do. Right? Okay. Then the next one is, as this has mentioned, right after they have passed the DRP, these two sessions of this discussion based on writing research as well as the refinement of result. Okay, after I done this presentation to them, then at the same time they're going to start with the thesis bootcamp 1, bootcamp 2, bootcamp 3. Thesis bootcamp 1 is actually is just for strengthening their what do you call this, the understanding, because they already DRP in first year. I'm sure that as a human in the third year they already forgot what actually they have written down in the proposal. So we have to recap back, okay, then in order to make sure that to come back with the momentum of understanding their own research. Yeah, and then this is bootcamp 2 is actually this is write up for the first draft. That means that because when they recap, then they know what to write. Right, that's why this is in the distance between thesis bootcamp 1 to thesis bootcamp number 2 is 6 months, right? And then between bootcamp 2 to bootcamp 3 is actually thesis beautifying stage is actually within 1 month, and the pre-viva within 1 month as well. So it means that it can be done within the third year, right? Okay. So what actually we do here is actually just to to enhance the momentum of the students. Yeah. All right. So this is actually what I've put the question and so on. This is actually the example of the students discussed during the bootcamp number 1, right? Okay, and then these are the questions that they have to answer, and then just to recap back what they have done. Okay, what they have put during the first year. Is there anything they left out? So some of the question maybe they cannot answer because they don't have in the proposal. So it means that something that they have to add on into the proposal, into their final write-up. Yeah, right. Okay, this is looking up, preparing for the first time. This is already pandemic, but I think that we still can do, can handle the program, but we have to do follow the SOP, right? Where they're sitting each one table by one person. Some of them actually bring two laptops just to work on their research. Yeah. All right. So at this point in time, the thesis book became 2.2, 2.0, where the co-supervisors, all the supervisors, all the supervisory team must be there as well. Yeah. Okay. That's why then we can fix everything at the same time. Yeah. All right. The discussions, right? This is what we call a thesis beautifying stage. Okay, before we submit for the thesis. Yeah. And then booking number 4 is actually the pre-viva. So we also invite external. Normally, I use my neighbor, my neighbor university, as the external examiner to come over and then to listen to the viva, then ask the questions, revise the viva slide and so on. Yeah, all right. Okay. Now this is the example that when I actually this 8 of actually there are 9 of them, but one I think is already managed to get the doctor much earlier than this 8. But actually these 8 actually they are intake in March 2018, but they submit the thesis in January 2021. So then the viva in all of them viva in April 2021. Right. So normally, like before they go to the viva, I conduct what we call for preparation for viva was it a pre-viva, right? So normally I will pass them this booklet. Okay, this booklet what they call viva was preparation. Inside of this booklet, like they are what they call these questions that from my experience I compile all the questions that what the student has been asked during the viva. Then I must make sure the students actually will be able to answer all the questions. If they don't have the in the thesis, but if the thesis is already submitted, it's okay, doesn't matter. But what the student need to, they have to put all the info in their pocket. In the case of the examiner asked during the Bible worksheet, that they can just take it out, okay, and then just show to the examiners. Yeah, all right, okay. This is what they call this leisure time lah. Normally, like I spend time with them. Okay, and then I said that okay, like we do makan, like too much writing already, and then too much reading already. Then like we do some leisure. Okay, then we do it. I will dine in it at my home lah. Right. Okay. Then this is I said what I say. I already specified. This is actually my supervision spot area. Okay, where the students will be here. Right. Okay. Since for your information at the moment, this area currently at the renovation. Yeah, because I said like because the batch all the batch that March 2018 or I think almost graduated. I said that I need to look at another environment to keep to make sure that the students remember that which what they are. This one is actually when I put the grapes the grape farms here, the concept of grape farms inside of as a of my supervision area, just to capture the culture. I mean the environment. Okay, right. Now, this is the result of the eight of them. Okay, with the Bible April in April 2021. Okay, so they are passed. They have the Bible Volche. Okay, that I think that's a great experience when you have eight students on the row. Okay, with the Bible Volche in April. Okay, then but I think like it also cracked my mind lah. But never mind. It's actually most experience. Most valuable experience for me, right? So how we're going to handle every each of them. Okay, when we prepare every week, we prepare for the pre-Bible. Okay, for the students. Yeah. Right. Right after the Bible, what I need to do? Okay, then I need to present to them. I said managing the correction of thesis. Okay, then what is the strategy? How we are going to do that? And what actually you need to do first. Okay. Right after that, after this presentation to the student, I mentioned that what you need to do. The next one is I have to give them the outline, what they need to do. Right, what they need to do. I said like, okay, this is the plan. Like if you look at based on the eight students that I managed this semester, so I provide that on the 16th May. Actually, I really present them managing the thesis correction, right? Because the last date of the students' Bible was the 30th of April, right? So then I put this. Then they give them for 2 weeks for break because I think at the time it's Raya time. Yeah. So then on the 16th we coming back. Okay, we discussed back and what actually what is the strategy based on the managing slide just now I show you lah, right? Okay, then I said like what you need to do, as I mentioned earlier, when you want to do this planning, right, the deadline and so on, so you must integrate you as a supervisor, the student as a supervisee, the faculty, and also IPSIS. If you look at the particular from number 1 until number 7, it's actually start from the student until the final one at the IPSIS part. Yeah. So if you look at here now, today is actually 14th of July, right? So actually now they're actually in the process of proofreading, and some of them already done very fast. They just submitted to AGPS for internal examiner verification. Yeah. So hopefully that we can get the Senate letter at least by 5 October, because we already set the date where the pre-Senate is actually on the 28th September, right? And then the Senate will be on the 5th of October. So like that's actually the plan lah. Yeah. So for instance, like I think like now it's already past 10 July, right? That's why I already meet them one to one. Okay, one to one, and we discuss closely. Okay, what actually need to be changed and how to improve it and so on. Yeah. All right. This is actually the session for thesis correction validation. Okay, confirmation. Actually, according to my time plan, I must finish by 10th of July. But actually, I finished at 11th of July. Means that I already missed one day. But because I also human, right? So I have to very closely look into the quality of the thesis as well. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then the next one. Okay. Now this is what time is now, doctor? It's 10:38.
10:38.
Okay. So I still have another 12 minutes, right?
10.
10 minutes, almost 10 minutes, right? Like that. Okay. So I just want to tell you, like I think it's actually very interesting journey when I think like at the moment we cannot do due to the pandemic, the crisis, but I think like if they get to normal back, like I think, like enjoy the moment with your students when you actually attending the local or international conference together with the students. Yeah. But even in the webinar, you also have to participate lah. At this time around, like when I bring them to UK, right? At the time because I was invited for second time as a keynote speaker. During the first time when I went for keynote speaker, and they already mentioned, they said, "Oh, can we go for the Lasabel?" I also wondering what is the Lasabel. Then they give me what exactly the Lasabel means, lawatan sambil belajar. Okay, all right. Okay, then we plan for 12 months. Okay, and then because the following year, luckily, Alhamdulillah, I also invited once again as a keynote speaker. Then I bring them, okay, to join me, okay, at that conference at the University of Oxford, right, in UK. Then like we also, as I mentioned, I don't want the student based on research 100%. We also, like try to come out with the another plan. Okay, we visited our very own investment, Malaysian investment in the city of London. That is belongs to PNB and also Sime Darby. Right, there's a Battersea Power Station. That is actually a very honored to visit this project. Like, and And like I think the students really see how they can expand the thinking in terms of going global, right? So this is actually something that I always mentioned, don't stick with the research on alone, but I think we have to go beyond the publication, beyond the research itself. So attending and visiting to the outside, I think will open the student mind, and they become more critical in the sense to look at what's happening at the environment. Right. So if I have time, okay, normally this is just a short video, right? A short video to show you, that we are actually how we actually plan the our movement from KK to London. Yeah, just a short one.
I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you want to go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. More than anything, more than anything, my wish for you that this life becomes all that you want until your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is our wish. I hope you never look back, but you never forget all the ones who love you in the place you left. I hope you always forgive and you never regret, and you help somebody every chance you get. Oh, you find God's grace in every mistake. You always give more than you take, but more than anything, yeah, more than anything. My wish for you that this life becomes all that you want until your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you want until your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you. The same things do. Yeah, me. It's
Right, that is actually an experience that I think like that was amazing experience. Okay, when I think like that's the biggest numbers that I brought overseas for students with both attending the industry as well as the international conferences. Yeah, right. So the next one is we're talking about the IID innovation. Okay, like I think like also like when I asked the students, say, okay, can we actually convert this into innovation, right? So we need to go for it. Just actually show to the people that the industry who actually interested, and but doesn't mean that you don't do anything. I also participate in the competition. Yeah, so means that I also come up with my own product. So with the students together. So that's why I think like you will get that environment of because people said if you I think that's based on Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu mentions that if you want to master of people, you must master of yourself first. Yeah, all right. Okay. Then in terms of other things that what I need to do across the period, I think for example last week that I think that's actually the important date for the students to submit the progress report submission. But like my style is actually is not just provide the form, but I need the evidence what you have done across the semester. Maybe I can give you one of the example. This is a progress report that maybe for example, I give you this the way how I did the progress report. Okay, I show you this one. Um, okay, if you can you see the progress report? Can you see the progress report? Okay, I give this is one of my students, but normally like the lecturers will sign here, right? And then whether what is the performance. But I also need the students to to come to give me a proper report. Okay, what you have done. Okay, now it's actually already March. I think from March 2021. Okay, March 2021. This is March 2021 until August. So they said waiting for Viva on the 26th minor correction and so on, correcting the dissertation examiner done. And then after that, this is in the progress. Now we are waiting for the internal examiners to coming back the report, and then we finalize this and submit to the IPSIS. This is in progress. Then after that, the student can graduate. So means that it's not just a sign of the form, but we need to provide the evidence of what the student has achieved. Right? Okay, this is one of the example lah. Yeah, what I did in terms of controlling the students to work, right? And then supervisors and supervisory course means that if there are courses that both of us can attend, then why not we join together? Then after that we can discuss back what actually the outcome from that course. Yeah. All right, and then in terms of industrial linkages, I think I don't have to repeat this one. I think you understand what does it mean. And also we encourage the teamwork, right? Well, like the teamwork also is the best strategy in order to help each other. So I think like if we said that a PhD is a lonely journey, maybe it's the fact. But I think now with the latest technology, with the new style of the new world of the research, I think like teamwork also can sometimes somehow can help the student in terms of solving the problem. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, now. So at the end of the day, okay, like what I can say from this talk this morning, I can simplify that. The most important thing when you want to supervise the students, like I would not just say that I'm too picky, yeah, but I'm saying that like I want to understand the student. So any student can come over to me, but the first thing that I need to do, as I mentioned earlier, in the first stage, that when they come to the registration, they have to see me, they have to sit down with me, and then we discuss in terms of what is the student history in terms of background, research knowledge, and also aptitude. Yeah. So when they have this kind of thing, then we know that what are the most suitable supervision style. Then after that, we design. Okay, if they're PhD, what you can do with these next 3 years. Okay, if you're a master, what you can do within the 4th semester. Right. Then after that, like if you want to know the progress of the student, make sure you keep on reminding them. Okay, what is actually the important deadline. Okay, whether they actually, but sometimes they forget because we have to understand that some of the students also are part-timer. They are working at the same time, so you have to understand that. And the last one is actually like across the things that what you have done, the thesis wrap up is very important, just to make sure the consistency in terms of to make sure that the external or other people who wants to read the thesis is easily understood. Right now, I know that, like, quite sometimes, like, you become a big father, okay, a big daddy or big mama for your students, right? Okay, but keep motivate them. At certain stage, they also will cry because of their stuck, but your role is actually not to make them to feel the stuck. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to keep in mind you are the motivator. You are the one who actually can what do you call this can help the student. But what you can do, okay, just if they actually achieving something, celebrate. Okay, if there's something that we did mistake, accept it and then take a correction measure, take the corrective measure, right? Okay, now I think, like, in order to be that, we have to increase self motivation. Okay, we are as a motivator to the students. So I think, like, not only that, I think it's not sufficient. It's just you are motivator, but you also have to increase what they call a self leadership. Supervisor said that, it's like this. Okay, this is based on Lauser. Mastering others is a strength, but mastering yourself is a true power. So means that you have to increase to build your self leadership first. From there, like, what to do. From there, how to communicate, how to be creative and how to be critical thinking. Then through the collaborative work that you can actually do among the team. Yeah. So self leadership is very important. So how to do that? Okay, this is actually from myself. I know that, develop the self leadership. It takes time. Okay, and you need to understand, okay, the environment. You understand the whole things, the whole setting of the process and so on. Yeah. So the first thing that what you have to do is you have to have the self confidence. What does it mean, the self confidence? Quite sometimes, like, you become threatened by other supervisor who perform better than you, right? So you don't have to think in that way. Like, why not you put them as a part and puzzle, okay, to complement each other? I think that you will success in that sense. And the second one is you do the self reflections. Okay, as a supervisor, we are human, like, but you need to look at what is the really matter in your supervisory team. So in the supervisory team, is that if you have a very strong supervisory team, means that they are very what you call the give a support commitment, and you have to look at also from yourself, okay, whether you actually in it or not, right? It's very important. And then the third one is the self humility. So don't be arrogant, be humble, and be approachable. We don't want to hear that, oh, that supervisor is very hard to see. Okay, that is actually something that but I think like it's never happened in Sabah. The reason is because, like, our system is actually, before the students before they appointed before the appointment of the supervisors by the faculty. So we need the students to talk to the supervisor, they agree or not, and the supervisors need to sign some document in order to be the supervisor, right? Once they agree, then the partial office get the response, get the feedback, saying that you agree to be the supervisor, then the appointment can be proceed. Yeah. So that's why I said, like, we don't want to say that, oh, it can't be approached, it's very hard to meet them and something like that. Okay. So we don't want to hear about that, right? Okay. And then another one is actually, as a supervisor, you must always have an what do you call this, an impact of the positive influence. You become the role model, then the students actually know that you are the right person to talk between the supervisor team, to clear about all the benefit. The most important things, like, we want to solve the problem. We don't want to prolong the problem. We don't want to hear to say that, like, you pergi lah sendiri. Tak boleh. Okay, don't do that. Okay, another thing is actually supervisors charismatic. Okay, so means that, as I mentioned, you have to integrate your what do you call this, your knowledge, okay, the system, the party involved in the what do you call this, in the postgraduate studies, right? So I think that you will able to deliver the function well, and be inspired with others. Yeah. For example, like, I could say, like, for example, how I'm going to say that we the charismatic we can show by, we want to develop you as a good researcher. We're not saying that don't use what I want to train you to be a good researcher, because I don't believe the words of train. I believe the develop means that there's a changes from one point to another point. But if you are trained, means that I think it's more appropriate to animal. I train dog, I train cat, okay, and so on, right? But I don't train people, right? So I develop the people, right? Okay, something like that. Okay, so this is actually how you're going to increase yourself with the self leadership, right? Now, so this is the end probably, right? I think the further discussion, I think, like, not further discussion with me, but discussion on your part, right? How you are going to do your monitoring PG students, right? Okay, is it the PG ecosystem really matter in your supervisory? supervision's work, and what it takes, okay, for the GOT or not GOT, right? So with that, this is actually just to show you at the moment, till now, I already have, I think, like as May 2021, four already managed to get the Senate letter, and three master students get the Senate letter. And then I will have, inshallah, by October, another nine doctoral students will graduate by this semester. So altogether 13 PhD and DBEd students will graduate, inshallah, by October. Right. Okay, now this is my final words. I think like I'm being given about 50 minutes. Okay, it's already past 4 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, it's not the supervision formula serve as a guide only. It's not a template. You know, like the design for each individual are different. So you know, like it's up to you how you are going to create, a good. What do you call this? A good planning with your students. Okay, so create the best journey with the students. Right? I guess that's it. Dr. Nurul, over to you.
Okay, Alhamdulillah and MashaAllah, all the you have shared with us all your experience and all these list of PhD students coming and graduate and already graduated. So Alhamdulillah, it is like it's really inspire us um, to learn and actually to from you. Yeah, Prof.
Yeah.
Okay, I open up to all the participants first. Any questions that you would like to ask? Tak boleh tanya soalan. Can make it as a santai moment for all of us.
Ya,
Yeah.
kita
Okay.
santai-santai.
Santai saja. Yeah. Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam. Ya, Dr. Ted.
Doktor, selamat pagi Prof and Dr. Nurul and everyone. Nak tanya sikit your opinion lah Prof, because I am still new in terms of postgraduate supervision. But Alhamdulillah, one of my master students has submitted dah lepas viva dia, dah lulus, and another 4 will have submitted this semester. So we hope that everyone will be able to submit to the faculty by 28th of August, kan? So in terms of viva correction, I'm still new. I only have one experience, and the student is currently doing her supervision. So we aim for her to do as fast as possible lah. But as a supervisor, how do you actually handle viva correction? Especially when you, as a supervisor, you might disagree with some of the comments or feedback or suggestion. How do you handle that? And do we have to 100% comply with the comments or feedback or suggestion? Because yang hari tu Prof kata Prof sampai 8 kan viva, which means 8 correction. So how do you handle that? I'm trying to understand and also prepare myself for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ted. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, if you look at from my slide just now, right, after I divide them according to 3 stages, means that is the third stage, right? The third stage, what the student need to do. So as most of the whatever talk that I gave, I do by myself. Means that then we straight away right after they do the viva, then I said like, okay, this is what you need to do. So for instance, if you look at in the slide just now, I mentioned about what they need to do is there's a sessions with them. A session with them on discussing what are the strategy on managing the correction of thesis, right? So if I could share with you, the content that I provide in in my presentation. Let's say talk webinar. Okay. Now if you look at here. Right, so I have what they need to do, what the student need to do. Okay, start from what is the content, the timeline, and so on, the correction, and they must know what is who actually in the evaluation to, and then what is the result. Then after that, what is the strategy? Okay, understand. This is the understand examiner report, right? So what they need to do, we have to report this accordingly, and what form need to be done. Okay, how the thesis corrections. What is the study step number 1 until number 5, right? Then what is the important document? Then after that, who will check the thesis correction, right? And then a timeline for thesis correction. Okay, for if they get a 6 month of minor, what they need to do, this is the process, right? Until they get the Senate approval. And if they manage to get correction 2 with the major correction 3A, then what they need to do, okay, then if they have corrections of 3B, what they need to do, right? So we have to strategy. Then after that, what we need to do with the thesis correction challenge? Okay, let's say if we have case by case, what we need to do. For example, case one, agree to add a data means that you must add on the thesis if they're actually even if they're mentioned differently from each of the case, right? So means that you must add into your thesis. But if they say sufficient means that you may refer to the book of examiner. This is my strategy, but we still need to do some evaluation. That's why I put some cautious here. It means that like you have to think back. Okay, if we have the situation in case number 2, number 3, and number 4, right? That's why we need to discuss more with the supervisor. If the same issue but different perspective, okay, so then we have to discuss further. Okay, this is the guideline. Then the student know, oh, this is the examiner one say differently, examiner two differently, third differently. So what we need to do? So then we have to map. Okay, then which one actually is the best solution to cater this examiner comments? This is actually what I did lah, Dr. Ted. How we are going to do this the thesis correction. Yeah, right. This is I think that the thing lah yang I buat lah with my students. Then they know what is actually, then they can plan. That's why right after that, like after that this presentation, what I did is actually I designed this what do you call this deadline lah, okay, the time plan lah, the time plan for the planning, thesis correction, and Senate approval. Okay, then you need to actually integrate lah, the IPSIS and so on, because if the student doesn't know where to go after that, like they will delay in terms of the time. Okay, so I think it's better they know the overall perspective what they need to do. Then okay, when they're clear, then I think there should be no problem in terms of over the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Okay. I hope that I give you the answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ted, for your questions and Prof. Okay, from chat, Dr. Cik Mam said that I learned a lot and to have saya bacakan what I learned is that all stages need to have a template and must be well documented. And Dr. Kadir mentioned I learned a lot from your experience, hope to be a great supervisor like you. Okay, memanglah nak jadi great supervisor ni is not an easy job, tapi that is what we need to learn. Prof, my questions pula. I have 5 PhD students, for example, register the same time. Okay, the deadline dekat chart tu, is it the same for all ataupun kita buat different for these 5 students? Itu nombor 1. My question nombor 2. Kalau let's say the proposal that sent by our students, usually Prof buat macam mana? You tunjuk one by one di mana nak diubah ataupun you generalkan. Okay, let's say for example, okay, this paragraph rephrase again, ataupun just this include theory, general ataupun you bagi sebiji spesifik. Yang mana satu your style nak tanya?
Oh, tak boleh, doctor. You cannot just put in general because every one of them is different, because the title, the research area is different. So the needs of that research every area will also different. So we have to treat them individually, but even like we can actually put them at once, okay, at one time. Okay, maksudnya, let's say, okay, there are 5 of them, okay, then you do the Google Meet with them, okay, then it can be done at one time. Tetapi to treat them, it must be one-to-one. Okay, one-to-one. This is what we did lah. I think everybody also listen to other comment as well. Okay, maksudnya kalau katakan student A, dia ada masalah dari segi research design. Okay, research design tu tak comply with certain issue, right? So maybe the other 4 also capture the same thing. So means that they also already think in advance. Oh, then I also have to change it accordingly. Okay, but we cannot say that they're having the same problem. Tapi I think we need to verify lah. Okay, that's why I don't know what is actually the rule of thumb that you meet your students. Okay, how many times yet you meet your students? But for me, I think I prefer to meet my student every 2 weeks. Okay, like my international students, okay, since they are not here, because like I think like we are actually meeting for every 2 weeks. So that's why like it's a big challenge lah, especially when come to the data analysis. Normally data analysis, like I want the students to conduct in front of me. Then I satisfied, oh, you are doing the right one. Okay. But if they actually do alone, quite sometimes, like stuck, and then when they do the report, where is this part? Then something is missing. So it's better. That's why I think the data analysis is very crucial. Where I think like that one is actually the only things that I think need to do one to one. Okay. Even like I think like if you look at in the photo, right? I think like during that time when I think where is it? Okay. I think this is actually the time that where sorry. Hang on. Okay. What is it? Okay, now if you look at in this area, right? The two photo here is actually okay. The other photo, the first photo is actually with the three ladies. That's actually during the data analysis stage, actually during the data analysis. But this one at the bottom is actually during the preparation for the Viva Voce, if I'm not mistaken. So this is actually, like how you are going to react yourself. I also ask them to get ready in terms of how you put your face in front of in front of the video, right? In front of the camera, how you actually look at how you're going to respond. That's why I think we need to also give them certain etiquette lah. Okay, what they should do during the Viva and so on. Yeah. All right. So if you look at here, means that I prefer that everyone of them actually open their own laptop. Then we look at okay how you analyze. Then because once they already correct analyze, then I think like I feel satisfied. Then they can do the report without any hesitation. Then I also believe whatever outcome is that means that it's a true one. Yeah. Itu yang saya cakap lah. Ya. Saya punya style macam tu lah, doktor.
Okay. Alright. Thank you so much. Yang lain-lain tu, any questions from participants? Dr. Nafisa minta, do you mind sharing your materials, Prof, as our guideline? Boleh ke?
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Okay.
Tapi saya tak tahu material yang macam mana tu sebab terlalu banyak ni.
Rasanya mungkin you all boleh lepas ni you contact terus Prof, mungkin highlight betul-betul which one that you want ataupun you nak semua ke macam mana ya. Okay. For other participants macam mana pula? Do you have any questions yang nak tanya Prof?
Assalamualaikum Prof and Dr. Nurul. Okay, I have a question. What is your biggest challenge while supervising and how do you overcome them? Macam contohnya, for me myself, I have encountered an experience where my PhD student bercerai and then nak quit study and then cuti and then all this kind of interference lah. Okay, have you ever encountered in that kind of problem and how do you overcome it?
I think yes, but as I mentioned to you, right, because like not all my students are GOT. There are some of them actually up to 12 semester, 13 semester, because of this problem. But I think like quite sometimes like we're not supposed to be engaged lah with that kind of personal problem, right? But we are as a supervisor, what I can say is actually just ask them to be what do you call this, to be calm down, something like that. Okay, if they told a story about their what do you call this, their personal background, personal problem, so kita just like advise in a positive way. As I mentioned in self leadership, like one of the things that you need to do is you have to show a positive attitude. Like you never just say like kau punya tahu lah, kau punya pasal lah, it's all. Or don't need, you cannot do like that. Okay, because they are human, they are actually in trouble, they also at the feeling of like unstable emotion. So I think like we not supposed to just but I think like my advice, if you face this kind of situation, be neutral. be neutral. So just be neutral. I think like, but one at the same time, once you be a neutral, but you also advise that in terms of, like, don't forget about your study, because because let's say for example, most of the student actually is already past the DRP, but they just ignore right after that. I also have that situation student, but alhamdulillah they finish, even they reach 13th semester, 14th semester, but doesn't matter as long as they finish. That's why I say to be GOT is a choice.
Alright.
Yeah,
Okay. Alright. Thank you, Prof.
yeah, no worries.
GOT is a choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a student
Okay,
choice.
insyaAllah. Tapi kalau we work hard for it, insyaAllah. Okay, any questions next from the participants?
Okay, I have another question. This is regarding macam we supervise and we kita terima lah apa yang student nak buat, all this dia orang punya thesis ni semua, but how do you deal with student yang suka dia baca something else, nak tukar, dia baca something else lagi yang baru dia nak tukar, I mean like keep on changing dia punya direction. So for me you will not reach your target lah if you keep changing your target kan.
Yeah, like it's common, Dr. Usna. It's happened to every student, But what you need to do is, you have to try to stop them. Okay,
Yeah.
try to stop them. Like I also found that student, like they read this one, they want to add this, and after that they shoot a very high sky. But what actually I did, like, okay, never mind, just stop here, stop here, stop here. It's okay. We're going to add because like it doesn't matter, like we bring a new thing inside of the thesis, but the thing is we can expand it in different way. That's why many students, they think that like, I want to add this is look many, but the thing is actually they never think the other round.
Yeah.
They think like, but from the small thing, how you going to expand it? That's actually the biggest contribution in the research. So that's why I think like we always ask the student to learn in both sides. Not only just just what they want to add on, but just think about how they're going to expand that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Selain ni, anyone from the participants yang nak tanya soalan from Prof?
Okay.
Ada tak? Okay, Prof, macam mana Prof handle students yang okay, let's say for example you janji deadline-nya contohlah 14 hari bulan 7, tapi lalanya submit senyap ataupun dia senyap, Prof akan say hi ataupun biarkan ataupun macam mana?
No lah, I think like I hope I get my I think my student is here, Dr. Felicia. Maybe you can respond that. Dr. Felicia?
Ada Dr. Felicia kan?
Ada.
Yeah, you are here.
Dr. Felicia?
Ada, tadi nampak tadi ada.
Hello.
Tadi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you can respond to that question. Boleh.
Come again, the questions tadi. Sedang layan anak-anak. Sorry. What's the question? Come again.
Okay, the question is, like what happened if you fail to submit your work within the time? You fail to submit. Yeah, or fail to submit your work on time. So what did I do?
Okay. Normally, this is just a sharing lah.
Yeah.
Okay, normally we will repeatedly ask where is your progress. May I know what is your progress? Keep on. Our supervisor will keep on asking about our progress and if there's any problem, and we need to talk it to him. Well, I think so far it is like this lah. Okay, with our supervisor. Our supervisor will keep on reminding us. Okay, the deadline will be like this, and we have to meet the deadline, and what's going to happen if you do not meet the deadlines and everything.
It's like this, Nurul, Dr. Nurul. It's like this, I think like if you involved in experiment study, I don't know whether you have involved last time experiment study. Yeah? If the experiment study means that experimental study, so like you actually can look at the way how you treat the students. Okay, the first thing is actually I already conduct this on my own lah. I have two groups. Okay, one group but in the same batch but different people, but they are in the same directions. But what I did the first group is actually I never give them any notice and so on, but they only know the early semester's notice. But I just that whether they actually get on time or not. But another one is actually, I keep on reminding, let's say every 2 weeks, okay, you have a deadline in another 1 week, okay, you have deadline another 2 days and so on, right? So what I can see, like, okay, I believe that we are humans, like, we have to keep on reminding others. So because sejajar dengan lumrah manusia itu adalah sering lupa. Jadi so that's why we have to remind them. Yeah, remind. So when I did apa ni, yang without any instruction too. So what happened? Only 20% respond on time. The rest not responding. So that's why I change based on that. Like it's better I remind them every like 2 weeks. Like they have to update me the work lah. Yeah, that's my concept lah. Yeah.
I bukan apa, I takut my student yang stress dengan I. Sebab
Tak, kita jangan terus cakap nak cakap terus, okay, what's your progress, something like that. No, don't do like that. Like we can just do santai, bualan santai. For example, I don't know whether they mind if I show you the WhatsApp group, our WhatsApp group. I think like we talking about like what we're doing and so on. At the end of the day, then we very focused straight after that. Because we cannot just jump straight away because sometimes that's why I said this is back to the supervision style. When you understand your student nature, whether it's actually a very straightforward or maybe this is person they really want to have a chat first, then after that they focus, something like that. So there are many different person. So you have to understand the nature of the student. When you understand that, tapi quite sometimes people will argue you, kenapa aku perlu nak faham student ni? Something like that. But I think it's part and parcel. There must be happen like that. You have to admit that. Ya, Dr. Nurul.
Prof, saya ada satu soalan.
Okay.
Ya, Dr. Kadir.
Tadi saya dah cakap dengan Dr. Kirizan ada isu sikit dengan apa berkaitan dengan conference. Okey. Mungkin kalau Prof dah mention, saya minta maaf lah, cuma saya nak clarification lah berkaitan dengan supervision ni. Dulu kita bolehlah berjumpa dengan student, buat discussion kadang-kadang dekat restoran ke kat mana ke kan. Tapi bila keadaan pandemik sekarang ni, kita punya face to face interaction tu apa semua tu agak terhad. Betul. Online meeting pun macam biasalah bila kita buat dengan student ni, dia orang ada ke tak ada kita tak ni kan. Kamera tutup kan. Itu isunya lah. So macam mana Prof atasikan masalah tu?
Prof, begini Dr. Kadir, saya bila kita because now every time that yang I plan for meeting, even online lah. So normally even dia close the video pun is okay because I think like because most of my students ni ladies, jadi ada yang tak pakai tudung and so on, like kalau kat rumah and so on, like. Jadi so I said that is okay, never mind. But I asked them to share the document. Sebab kalau tak share document, maksudnya memang tak ada lah kerja tu. Tapi kalau dia share document, means that there is something that we can do. Macam contoh kita nak buat publication. Okay, this paper need to improve in this way and so on. Right? So sebab journal requirement need to do like this way. Jadi maksudnya kita boleh juga sebenarnya buat over the online lah. Tapi itulah memang kekarangan dia. I think like if you ask me which one is actually more effective between online or face to face, definitely the face to face is still the best lah approach to do this. Tapi itulah bila kita cakap macam dia tak buat ke ni, because I think like we have to understand juga because the pandemic ni make people very limited to move. But the thing is what we can do with that, itu yang kita kena fikir sebenarnya. Tapi kalau memang saya selalu buat kalau benda yang ada yang online, tetapi because sekarang ni Sabah pun dah dah di fasa kedua, dia punya pelan pemulihan. So I think like most of the time kami boleh face to face sudah semula lah, sebab we still can dine in. Kita dah boleh dine in kat Sabah ni. Jadi tak ada isu lah benda tu. Cuma mungkin dekat Shah Alam, dekat area-area Semenanjung mungkin dan Sarawak masih affected lagi lah. Cuma kena cari jalan lah indikator. Maksudnya contohnya kadang-kadang kita jangan buat meeting yang terus buat meeting yang dia memang tak ada bahan. Tetapi why not kita bagi dia time, let's say 1 or 2 days, you write something, then after that we discuss over Google Meet, then they show dia punya work, then kita pula tak boleh lah cakap condemn dia, oh this is not the expectation, ini tak memenuhi dia punya dia punya standard. So kita sebagai supervisor kena tunjuk, oh this one can be written in this way, then after that kita pun dia pun semangat nak buat, because you must understand, kalau tadi sebab tu saya cakap treatment tu different tau. Kalau dia student tu immature, terutama yang budak baru daripada fresh graduate bachelor degree buat master, itu memang kita kena betul-betul jumpa, kena betul-betul guide dia betul-betul. Macam the latest one, I think like I guide students in terms of how to publish the journal, because that's a requirement for them to graduate. Jadi kita pun buka paper tu, apa yang kita perlu baiki. Tapi dia dah bagi saya awal lah. Maksudnya sehari. Jangan kita buat meeting yang terus-terus nak tanya dia apa dia punya progress, tak boleh. Dia kena ada time plan dia. Katakan Isnin you submit, mungkin Rabu kita meeting sebab saya nak sehari nak tengok. Then after that kita meeting, kita highlight which one is actually need to be done. Apa yang perlu diperbaiki. That's why I think like that's why macam I think like publication is not an issue lah for my students. Ya, Dr. Kadir.
Ya, terima kasih Prof.
Ya.
Terima kasih.
Sama Dr. Kadir.
Ya, dah tips menulis pun kena ada juga actually ya, for sharing to share with participants.
Kalau saya nak share, because like when to be honest, because yang saya bawa 23 orang ke UK untuk conference tempoh hari, even kita ada 4 kali bengkel sampailah tahap nak mengeluarkan paper tu. Supaya bengkel tu kita nampak dia punya outcome. Sebab I think I must admit that because they are orang amateur. They still not know what is actually the expectation by the journal article and so on. But tapi I think that bengkel tu 4 tu, kita buat 4 series bengkel sebelum kita fly ke UK. I think that is really meaningful. Dan what is actually the interesting about that, when we do the bengkel, out of 23 paper, kita dapat 8 best paper award. That is actually yang bagusnya lah. Orang dah nampak cara kita buat kerja, dan cara kita nak keluarkan material. Dan kita pergi conference tu, tetapi kita tak publish dekat conference tu. Tapi I think like we target for the Q1 and Q2 punya journal. So I think that's why most of my DBA student dia publish at Q1 and Q2 lah. Because tapi there's a strategy jugalah how we are going to publish at Q1 and Q2. That's why we play around with the title. Kita main-main dalam title tu. Maksudnya kita macam berbahasa, kita supaya nak attract people to read, to read that paper.
Ya, betul. Thank you Prof.
Ya.
Banyak tu. Nak kena all the tips that you have shared with us tadi from dalam 1 jam tadi. Anything else sebelum kita close the session, sebab dah pukul 11.23, dah lebih daripada perjanjian 11.15. Tapi Prof sebenarnya mention that he's free today. Boleh sebenarnya, sampai malam pun boleh sebenarnya. Okay.
Cuma
anything else?
Itulah saya nak bagi tahu apa ni, challenge sebagai seorang supervisor always there. maksudnya, tapi we have to take the challenge and we have to, but at the end of the day we're not talking about us, we are talking about the university. Okay, sebab the most important thing sekarang ni, I think, like we have to help the universities to go our directions, especially di UiTM 2025. Jadi dalam tu ada juga dia punya intipati yang apa ni, yang menyentuh aspek-aspek apa ni, postgraduate, dan I think like semua tu terletak di bahu dia pensyarah-pensyarah semua. Jadi maksudnya we have to help the UiTM to drive to the 2025. Ya, itu yang saya nampak lah.
Ya, betul, setuju sangat. Peranan all the supervisors, peranan kita ni sangat penting sebenarnya untuk membantu universiti dalam mencapai agenda universiti, especially dalam penerbitan dan penyelidikan. Sebelum saya, ada lagi tak sebelum yang nak tanya soalan before we end the discussion today?
Alright. Kalau ada.
Ada tak? Macam senyap je tu, Prof.
Okay, kalau tak ada, okay, allow me to share the last video. This is actually to motivate everyone, right? Like nothing is impossible in this world. Like you just put the right direction, right path, and I think you can reach your destination. Yeah. So kalau tak ada apa-apa, saya nak share lah video terakhir ni. What I can say is actually you must always believe that, okay, your relationship between students and you as a supervisor, it's a temporary. Okay, once they graduate, they will go away and then they will fulfill their duty to the country for the benefit of the society. Yeah. So what actually my final say, okay, you what do you call this? You create the best memory that you have with your students. Okay, one day, like you will need them at the industry. Maybe they also need to refer to you again. So build up with your relationship. Yeah. So I think to close up this video, I share you the journey that I think this is the first phase of my supervision. I think like from 2012 until 2016. Yeah, 2016 of the journey. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy the video.
Thank you, Prof.
Pertemuan harapan pertama kalinya, bergetar jiwa menghadapi mimpi, sukar dipercaya pintunya terbuka. Di sini jua memori tercipta, walau seketika terjalin kasih kita. Mungkin di sini kita akan terpisah, kenangan bersama tiada sulit bisikan hati, seiring mencari haruan berseni, bergetar jiwa hadapi mimpi-mimpi, tiada pun terduga pintunya terbuka. Di sini jua memori tercipta, walau seketika terjalin kasih kita. Kan terindah kenangan bersama.
Alright, Doctor.
Okey, dengan lagu tu tadi lagu pun menyentuh perasaan sebenarnya. Dibuai dengan perasaan, melihat gambar-gambar yang Prof share with your student, the moment yang Prof share itu sebenarnya memberikan inspirasi kepada kita semua untuk menjadi seorang supervisor yang baik. InsyaAllah doakan kami Prof untuk dapat
InsyaAllah.
menyumbang sesuatu dan sebelum saya rasa Prof ada apa lagi nak cakap lagi ke sebelum kita nak end?
Okay, I think
Last
my final say, okay, I wish all the best to everyone. Okay, I think like nothing is impossible, but as long as like kita tahu apa niat kita, right? So our intention is actually to improve the society, to improve the country. So I think kita just berdasarkan landasan itulah. Yeah. At the end of the day, the benefit will goes to university.
Yeah.
Jadi kita pun
Terima kasih.
itu sajalah.
Macam tak berapa dengar.
Tak dengar Tak dengar?
Okay Prof, okay, I clear.
Oh, line clear. Okay, sebab kalau cakap macam tak clear. Okay.
Takut.
So I think like last say, you can be the best supervisor. Okay. Tapi apa yang kita boleh cakap, apa yang saya boleh cakap, kita just beri apa yang kita mampu. Ya, kita bagi yang terbaik untuk student. Definitely, they will happy and then they will finish the study with a great memory with us. Okay, you also can do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Prof atas perkongsian pada hari ini. Dengan ini saya mewakili Postgraduate School dan juga warga Fakulti Bisnes dan semua warga UiTM yang ada di hari ini ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Prof Dr. Imbarine kerana berkongsi tips ini. Semoga apa yang dikongsikan ini dapat dijadikan sebagai satu panduan kepada kita semua dan memberikan inspirasi kepada kita semua untuk menjalankan tugas dengan lebih amanah kerana kita merupakan amanah yang diberikan oleh UiTM untuk membantu para pensyarah ataupun para pelajar kita sendiri. Jadi dengan itu saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih juga kepada Dr. Azura Nordin. Dengar tu, doakan beliau Cik Nur Azura Nordin yang menjadi technical team saya pada hari ini yang membantu merealisasikan angan-angan kami berdua sebenarnya untuk mengundang Prof berkongsi cerita tentang bagaimana perkongsian menjadi seorang supervisor yang baik sebenarnya. Dengan itu saya doakan kepada Prof dan para pelajar Prof, semoga dipermudahkan segala urusan selepas ini dan Prof juga semoga amal yang diberikan ini memberikan impak kepada Prof sehingga suatu hari untuk kita ke pengakhiran kita pada hari ini, pada pengakhiran kita dalam kehidupan ini. Dan dengan itu saya sudahi program kita pada hari ini dengan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir. Thank you so much. Doakan kuatkan semangat, sabar dan jalankanlah amanah ini dengan yang terbaik insya-Allah. Bismillah. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih semua.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you, Prof.
Terima kasih Prof.
Thank you Prof.
Yeah, because scary number yesterday.
Betul.
11,000. Oh my
Ya,
god.
Prof.
Yeah, sama.
Sabar dah clear.
Macam mana Prof?
Sabar dah
Tak,
clear.
ya. Taklah okay
number
juga
ni.
kita punya almost 300 juga tu.
Zura boleh tutup record.
Stop recording lah, dah habis dah.
Itulah
Dr.
saya
Kadir, lama tak dengar cerita, apa khabar?